Hi, my name is Dominic Costello, and I'm a student here at Full Sail University for audio engineering, and this is my industry case study. I decided to do mine on mixing engineer. What is a mixing engineer? A mixing engineer is someone who takes recorded audio from an artist, band, film, or other project and polishes them by adding effects and plugins to make a mix sound cohesive and professional. Why would someone choose this career? This career allows you to be creative with how the final product sounds. This career also allows you to dive into new software and hardware to shape elements in the mix. This is also a good career path for someone who is detail-oriented. And it's also a good career for helping artists perfect the sound they're looking for. This is also a good career to be able to collaborate with other engineers and producers. Why am I pursuing this career? Anytime I'm working on someone else's music or my own productions, I've always known that mixing is a passion of mine. And I'm always looking for new ways to creatively alter sound, whether it's a new plugin, hardware effect, or a new Eurorack module. And this is a picture of me in my studio with my little Eurorack palette case. Here are my career profiles. The first one is the mixing engineer, which is my dream job. An audio engineering degree is helpful, but it is not required. Some essential skills that you need to be a mixing engineer would be mastering a DAW, having a good ear, and being really good at understanding how plugins and hardware works. Also, the organization of files and sessions is something you should be relatively good at if you want to be a mixing engineer. The average salary is $84,100, but it could range from $60,000 to $125,000. Mixing my own projects and other people's projects have given me a good understanding of the skills needed, but I do think Full Sail will help me prepare myself for a job in the future. The next career path I have is a recording engineer, and this is a job that you might have on the way to being a mixing engineer. Audio production degree is recommended. The skills that you might need could include mic placement, knowledge about consoles and signal flow, and a DAW certification, as well as some acoustic knowledge as well. The average salary is $34,000, but the salary could also range from $26,200 to $70,700. Recording engineer also relates to mixing engineer because you also need a trained ear and knowledge about acoustics and signal flow. Another career path I have is a mastering engineer, which is kind of similar to being a mixing engineer in certain ways. An audio engineer is definitely recommended for this career. Skills you'll need is DAW certification, a strong ear, and you have to know plugins and hardware very well. Critical listening and problem solving are also essential skills. The average salary for a mastering engineer is $72,500, but again, it could range from $22,000 to $143,000. And how this also relates to a mixing engineer is the need for a good ear and knowledge about signal flow and hardware, also software, and also critical listening, which is something you need to be a mixing engineer as well. Okay, next we have some inspirational stories from other mixing engineers. The first one is Marta Saloni. Marta is an Italian mixing engineer who has worked with Depeche Mode, Bjork, and Black Midi, as well as many others. She started in live sound and gradually started working her way into studio settings. And some things that interest me about Marta is her experimental and creative use of tape for her mixing process. The reason I chose Marta is because of her creative techniques and because of her electronic music background in mixing. I relate to Marta because of her obsession with sound and could definitely see myself doing what she does, which is trying to be as creative as possible by using analog resources and keeping the idea of mixing fresh and unique. The next person I chose is Stefan Brown, and Stefan is a mastering engineer at Abbey Road Studios in the UK. He primarily works in the underground electronic scene, doing mastering for mostly house, techno, electro, and that kind of style. What interests me about Stefan is how he built his credibility by starting out working with underground artists and labels and doing a lot of mastering for vinyl releases as well, which is something I'm really interested in. Although mastering isn't my ideal career path, Stefan's hybrid approach of mastering is very interesting, and it resonates with me because of his work in the electronic music industry and how he got started by mastering house and techno on vinyl. And here's my reference page. And that concludes my industry case study presentation, and thank you for listening.